Welcome back to another edition of the Forts Athletics Life and Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Charles Inferno. We're at Forts Athletics. We equip coaches and athletes with the tools they seek out in order to achieve their unique and specific goals. This is a late night edition, if you will. It's Sunday, November 13th. It's a little dusky here. It's almost 5 o'clock on the East Coast, and she got back from a funeral. Someone I work with at school, their parent passed away rather unexpectedly early last week. And as a team, as a staff, we went to show support of our friend and colleague. And it kind of gets you thinking a little bit, going to things of that nature that are somewhat somber, and just just kind of makes you think. And it makes me think a lot about life in general, and expectations, and how short things really are, right? Like, this person was rather young, and not knowing much about the family or the situations of a relatively new team member. It still makes you think a little bit about, like, if something happened to you today, would you be happy with where you are? Like, if you've done everything that you can possibly do to get where you are today, or to get where you want to go. And maybe 5-6 years, maybe since I finished at Fisher in 16, I really think about it a lot. This Christmas will be my 6th year from Fisher, and you kind of have 6 years since graduating. And I had expectations, I had ideas of what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go, and sometimes that stuff doesn't come through for whatever reason. But when I'm sitting there and I think about it, if I'd done everything, in my power to try and accomplish what I want to do. And sometimes you get to a point where you weigh your options and you try and decide what is worth what, and if choosing option A over B and vice versa, if that's really going to set you on your path. And I share with my kids all the time, my athletes, every decision that we make, every decision you make, everything that you do is either going to bring you closer or farther away to what you want to accomplish, right? There's always a trade-off. Those late night decisions or late night shenanigans, there's always something, and it might not happen immediately, and it might not happen right away, but eventually you might feel that this decision kind of creep up. And as athletes, when I was 21, 22, 23, I was relatively, I thought I was indestructible, right? That just do whatever I wanted, and nothing was, I was going to be okay. But, when you think about at the very end, hopefully you're not thinking about that. Hopefully, I don't really know, to be honest. I saw it with my grandfather. Watched it happen over the course of a few months. And I think it really is true. I don't think he wanted to work more at Kodak. don't think he wanted to work more at the factory. I don't think he wanted to work more 16-hour shifts. I think he wanted to spend more time with us and play golf and just be there. And like situation like today, there's a lot of tears, a lot of uneasiness and not seeing people, and people. I don't know. It's just kind of makes me wonder if you're doing everything you can, or if I'm doing everything I can to get where I want to go. So just give you an example. I don't know if this is more of a life thoughts or something. So like when my middle guy, well, at the time he was the middle guy, when he turned 3, I wrote out a list of like 10 things that I wanted to do before he turned 8. He turns 8 in May, and I'll be 41. So it's kind of like, okay, 5 years, where are we going to be? Kind of after I finish Fisher. And I've gotten a little closer to 3 of the things. 5, there's no way I'm going to accomplish them. Like, it's not even possible. And there's 2 kind of like wild cards in there, that there might be, might not be. But he turns 8 in May. I turned 41 in February, so we're kind of stuck here. It's not looking really good. But when I sit back and think about, have I written enough? Have I put enough out there? Have I offered enough? I think I've done a pretty good job. Podcast a week, blog a week, videos, stuff like that. But then I also think, and excuse the language, I guess, but in the long run, or I guess in the short run, in the short term, I was trying to do that for other people and try and do stuff in the positive, right? But then when you're there in those last moments, nobody cares. Nobody else cares. It's really all about if you think you did what you could have to accomplish stuff, and everyone's accomplishments are different. A lot of mine are focused on the boys and what we want to do, what I want to do, and how striving towards that can make a positive difference. And for a long time, I was kind of like concerned about what others would see or say about my writing and blogging and podcasting. And then there's moments like today, this afternoon, where I drove about 3 hours to pay my respects for 2 minutes and say my prayer that my grandmother would be happy to hopefully see that I did. And that nobody, in your heart of hearts, you really need to want to be able to do it for yourself. There's coaches that are going to support you 100%. I support my athletes, my kids 100%. I hope they know that. I tell them as such as often as I can. But if you don't have a support system, if you don't have like that fourth pillar in your life, that environment, that love, that someone's going to hold your hand, have to do it for yourself. And I think sometimes we get caught up in trying to impress others or do for others or do for others or do to get others' attention. When in actuality, they're not coming to your funeral. They don't care. They're not coming to your wake. They're not going to pay respects. They don't care. And you really need to do it for yourself, because there's nobody else out there. No one else is going to be your biggest fan beside yourself. You have to have this like 100% invested desire to accomplish whatever you want to desire for yourself. And that's where the magic's going to happen. Because no one's going to go to your wake. No one's going to go to your funeral. No one's going to go to the mausoleum. No one's going to go to the cemetery. Because nobody else cares. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Force Athletics Life and Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Charles Inferno, and have a great day.